Kalimanshi defects to PF, UPND's 2026 nightmare begins? Zambia politics breakdown. At first glance, it looks like just another political defection. But in Zambian politics, no defection is ever small. Kalimanshi's move is already sending signals not just to the opposition, but deep inside UPND itself. Is this a strategic gain? A warning sign? Or a calculated message ahead of 2026? Tonight, we explain why Kalimanshi's defection matters far more than many people realize. Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash. It's been quite a week here in Lusaka, and as we head deeper into 2026, the political temperature continues to rise. But today, we're diving into a story that has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power, a story of defection, ambition, and the fracturing loyalties that could reshape Zambia's political landscape. Imagine this: you've built your political career on the promises of a new dawn. You've campaigned in villages and townships, preaching the gospel of change, of economic transformation, of leaving the old politics behind. Your party swept into power in 2021 with overwhelming support, riding a wave of hope and frustration with the past. But now, just months before a crucial election, one of your own, a trusted member of parliament, a voice in the legislature, walks away. Not quietly. Not with resignation. But with fanfare, with cameras rolling, crossing the floor to join the very party you defeated, the party you promised to consign to history. What does it mean when a sitting member of parliament abandons the ruling party? Is this a simple case of political ambition, or does it signal something deeper, a crack in the foundation of the UPND's support? Could Ms. Kalimanshi's defection to the Patriotic Front be the first domino in a cascade that undermines President Hakainde Hichilema's re-election hopes? And perhaps most troubling of all, if the UPND cannot hold on to its own MPs, how can it convince the electorate that it deserves another mandate? This isn't just about one man switching sides. This is about perception, momentum, and the brutal arithmetic of parliamentary politics. This is about a government watching nervously as the opposition party it buried just years ago begins to stir, begins to rebuild, begins to reach out its hands to those who once rejected it. The question isn't just why Kalimanshi left, it's who might follow him. Factual foundation. The revelation came to light on the morning of January 9, 2026, when Ms. Kalimanshi, the Member of Parliament for Bahati constituency in the Copperbelt province, made a stunning announcement that reverberated across Zambian media platforms and political circles. Kalimanshi, who had served under the UPND banner since the party's landslide victory in the 2021 general elections, publicly declared his defection to the Patriotic Front, the party that had governed Zambia under former President Edgar Lungu from 2015 to 2021. The announcement was made during a press conference held at the PF Secretariat in Lusaka, with senior PF officials in attendance, including Secretary General Raphael Nakasinda and several party loyalists who had remained steadfast despite the PF's crushing defeat 4 years prior. The defection did not emerge from a vacuum. Sources close to the matter suggest that tensions between Kalimanshi and the UPND leadership had been simmering for several months. There were whispers of disagreements over constituency development allocations, frustrations with what Kalimanshi allegedly perceived as centralized decision-making within the party, and concerns about his political future within an increasingly crowded UPND structure on the Copperbelt. The first public hint came in late December 2025, when Kalimanshi conspicuously missed several key UPND rallies in the Copperbelt region. Political observers noted his absence, but few anticipated the dramatic turn that would follow. Behind the scenes, negotiations between Kalimanshi and senior PF figures had reportedly been ongoing since November, facilitated by intermediaries who had maintained connections across party lines. On January 8, just one day before the official announcement, Kalimanshi met with President Edgar Lungu at a private residence in Lusaka. While the details of that meeting remain confidential, those present described it as cordial and strategic, with discussions centered on Kalimanshi's role in what the PF is positioning as its reclamation project ahead of the 2026 elections. By the following morning, the deed was done. Standing before cameras and microphones, flanked by PF officials bearing the party's distinctive green and yellow colors, Ms. Kalimanshi formally renounced his UPND membership and pledged his allegiance to the Patriotic Front. The timing, less than 8 months before Zambia heads to the polls, could not have been more calculated or more consequential. Direct evidence. During the press conference at the PF Secretariat, Mr. Kalimanshi did not mince words. His statement, delivered with a mixture of defiance and conviction, laid bare his grievances and his motivations. Kalimanshi began, "Today marks a significant moment in my political journey. After careful consideration and, deep reflection on the direction of our nation, I have made the decision to join the Patriotic Front. This was not an easy decision, but it is the right decision." He continued, "I joined the UPND with hopes, genuine hopes, that we would transform this country. That we would, bring development to constituencies like Bahati, that we would listen to the voices of ordinary Zambians. But what I have witnessed over the past 4 years has been deeply troubling. There is a disconnect between the promises made and the realities on the ground." When pressed by journalists about specific grievances, Kalimanshi elaborated. "Look, I have approached party leadership on multiple occasions about the needs of my constituents. Roads that need repair, schools that need resources, health centers that need equipment. And each time, I was told to wait, to be patient, to follow procedures. But governance is not about procedures, it's about results. My people elected me to deliver, not to make excuses." A journalist then asked, "Honorable member, some would say you are abandoning the party that gave you a platform. How do you respond to accusations of opportunism?" Kalimanshi's response was pointed. "Opportunism? Let me be clear. The UPND has abandoned its own MPs. They have abandoned the grassroots. When you cannot access your own party president, when decisions are made by a small circle without consultation, when your voice as an elected representative is ignored, that is not a party, that is a clique. I am not abandoning principle. I am returning to a party that understands the needs of the Copper Belt, that understands the struggles of working-class Zambians." PF Secretary General Raphael Nakasinda, standing beside Kalimanshi, seized the moment. "This is a homecoming. Honorable Kalimanshi has seen what many are beginning to see, that the UPND promised heaven but delivered confusion. We welcome him with open arms, and we assure him that his voice will be heard, his constituency will be prioritized, and together, we will restore what has been lost." Nakasinda continued, "This is not just about one MP. This is about a movement. Zambians are waking up to the reality that the new dawn has become a false dawn. And as we approach 2026, more and more people will return home to the PF." When asked if more defections were expected, Nakasinda smiled. "I won't preempt what others may decide, but let me say this, conversations are happening. People are watching, and they are seeing that the PF is reorganizing, rebuilding, and ready to reclaim our place as the party of the people." From the UPND side, the response was swift and sharp. Cornelius Muitwa, the Minister of Information and UPND spokesperson, addressed the defection during a press briefing later that same day. Muitwa stated, "Mr. Kalimanshi's decision is unfortunate but not surprising. Let us be honest, this is a man who failed to deliver for his constituents and is now looking for excuses. Rather than own his shortcomings, he chooses to blame the party. The UPND remains strong, united, and focused on delivering for all Zambians." He added, "As for the PF's claims of a resurgence, we say this, Zambians have not forgotten. They have not forgotten the debt burden, the corruption scandals, the suppression of dissent. No amount of rebranding or recruitment will erase that record. We welcome Mr. Kalimanshi's departure. It allows us to field a candidate who truly represents the values of the new dawn." Deeper analysis. So what does this defection really mean? Is it an isolated incident, the actions of one disgruntled MP, or is it a symptom of deeper fractures within the UPND coalition? Political analysts are divided. Dr. Sishiwa, a prominent political commentator and historian, argues that while defections are not uncommon in Zambian politics, the timing and symbolism of Kalimanshi's move cannot be dismissed. The Copper Belt has historically been a PF stronghold, Dr. Sishiwa noted in a television interview shortly after the announcement. The UPND made significant inroads there in 2021, but that support was always conditional. If the PF can reclaim even a few constituencies on the Copperbelt by tapping into economic grievances, unemployment, mine closures, cost of living, they could complicate the UPND's path to victory. Others, however, caution against overstating the significance. Laura Mitty, a civil society activist and political observer, pointed out that defections often generate headlines but rarely translate into electoral gains. Zambians are sophisticated voters, she said. They remember why they voted out the PF. One MP changing sides does not erase the record of economic mismanagement and governance failures. What matters more is whether the UPND can deliver tangible improvements in people's lives. From a legal and procedural standpoint, Kalimanshi's defection raises questions about the integrity of parliamentary representation. Under Zambian law, there is no automatic recall mechanism for MPs who switch parties. Kalimanshi retains his seat and will continue to serve as the MP for Bahati until the next general election, despite now representing a party different from the one under which he was elected. Critics have long argued that this system undermines democratic accountability, allowing MPs to effectively disregard the will of their constituents. The UPND's internal dynamics also come under scrutiny. Sources within the party suggest that Kalimanshi's complaints about centralized decision-making are not unique. Several MPs, particularly those from regions outside the party's traditional southern province base, have privately expressed frustration with what they perceive as limited access to leadership and inadequate support for their constituencies. If these grievances are not addressed, the UPND risks further erosion of its parliamentary caucus. For the Patriotic Front, Kalimanshi's defection represents a symbolic victory and a potential opening. The party has been working to rebuild its image and organizational capacity after its 2021 defeat. Securing sitting MPs from the ruling party provides a narrative of resurgence and legitimacy, signaling to potential supporters and defectors that the PF remains a viable political force. However, the PF's ability to capitalize on this momentum will depend on its capacity to present a coherent alternative vision and to overcome the baggage of its previous tenure in government. The broader implications for Zambia's political landscape are profound. If this defection emboldens other disaffected UPND MPs or encourages former PF supporters to return to the fold, the 2026 elections could be far more competitive than currently anticipated. The UPND's parliamentary majority, while still substantial, could be tested, and the narrative of inevitability surrounding President Hichilema's re-election could be challenged. And there you have it, viewers. A political earthquake that has set the stage for what promises to be a fiercely contested election season. Ms. Kalimanshi's defection to the PF is more than just one man's decision, it's a flashpoint that exposes the tensions, ambitions, and uncertainties swirling through Zambian politics as we approach 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today on InspirAfrica Official. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who takes the time to watch, to engage, and to think critically about the issues shaping our nation and our continent. I want to hear from you. What do you make of Kalimanshi's defection? Is this a sign of things to come for the UPND, or just political theater? Do you think the PF can truly mount a credible challenge in 2026, or are they simply clutching at straws? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I read them all, and your perspectives matter. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who's interested in Zambian politics. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'll be tracking this story and all the twists and turns leading up to the elections. I'll be back tomorrow with more news, more analysis, and more conversations that matter. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay inspired. This is Nakash, signing off. God bless you, and God bless Zambia.